Every day, there's a battle for your mind raging. Information coming from every angle with the will to deceive. Fear not. You found the place for truth. The voice of a generation that still has the will to believe in the greatest country in the history of the world. This is the Charlie Kirk Show. Buckle up. Here we go.
All right, welcome to the Charlie Kirk Show. I'm Andrew Calvert. Happy Monday to radio stations across the country, Real America's Voice, Salem News Channel, streaming, podcast, everywhere. We are everywhere. We are in a lot of places. Blake Neff is back.
I'm back. You couldn't keep me away forever.
Yeah. He was. We were worried he was going to be taking a vow of chastity.
Ew.
And what else? Poverty.
Yeah, there's like a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
I was off. A cousin of mine is joining. What was the name of it? It was. There's like two names for it, but
It's
it was
becoming a nun.
The order.
Nexium. It's that's the.
Oh
the
no.
Okay.
She joined an order of nuns in a convent in Naples, Italy, and
Yes.
That's actually like the exact opposite of Nexium.
Yes.
That's the worst
No.
guess.
No, Blake told me. Blake told me, and I was like, "It's pretty based, Blake, that you have a family member like that." I wish I did. I actually think it's great when people feel that type of devotion that they're willing to, give up so many of the, the pleasures of life or the appetites of life, and to devote their life to God. I think it's a beautiful thing. We are also joined by Alex Marlow, editor-in-chief of Breitbart News. Welcome to the show, man.
I'm really glad to be here. You guys have been doing such an excellent job since Charlie's passing. Condolences to you guys. First time I've got to express it in person.
That's right.
You guys have done an amazing job. And we're all still devastated. I miss him every day, and just happy to be here next to his seat for a couple of days here.
Yeah. So exactly. Alex is actually going to join us for not only today, but tomorrow. He made the pilgrimage out, and we were honored to have him. And Alex, let's start right there. You were probably one of the closest people to Charlie in the news media. You were a weekly guest on the show, at least for the last 5 or 6 months before Charlie's passing, I would say. I think it was something like that. But you, for the life of the show, you came on regularly. You're also the editor-in-chief of Breitbart. You've been a friend for years. You've spoken at the events. The floor is yours. This is a reality Blake and I have been navigating day in, day out, looking at that chair, being in this studio, like you said, just missing our friend, missing a leader of the country, leader of the conservative movement. And yet we also understand that Charlie would want us to keep doing this, and he'd want us to keep taking care of Turning Point and keep wanting us to march forward and support Erica in any way we can. But this is, like you said, this is your first time kind of coming back to the show and being around this. And so I want to give you the opportunity just to kind of reflect on what these last 6-7 weeks, what are we at now, have meant to you.
Well, first of all, I'm really so pleased with how people took so many of Charlie's lessons to heart, and people making wholesale change in their life because Charlie inspired them. I think, Andrew, you and I even talked about this briefly privately about how we knew Charlie was huge, but it's hard to picture visuals in Croatia or whatever we were seeing, after he passed, which is amazing. And also, of course, the connection to his faith is so big, how just the marrying of faith and politics is so overdue in this country. The godlessness has just gotten way out of control. That's a huge lasting legacy of Charlie. But apropos of what we're doing today on the show, he really became a journalist, which I would never say to his face, because that would have been an insult I would never wish on my worst enemies. But it is something that the show became a place where thought leaders and political leaders and spiritual leaders would come to get the message out, because they knew it was one of the best places to get the message out. And I just found that amazing, that of all the things he was doing, he was also a force in journalism, not just activism and social media and the campus tours. And I thought about why. And of course, the work ethic comes first to mind, but how he would hone the arguments down to a point. He would just get it so that every single point, not only did he have all this knowledge and wisdom, but the knowledge part in particular, he had so much to say, and he had so much history to back it up, so much data to back it up. But then the focusing, and South Park tried to make fun of him for it, but it wasn't effective in making fun of him. Like, he would focus the arguments. And that's how you convince people who are completely new. You might only have an elevator pitch. You might only have a second or two with them. Sell me this. in a sentence or two. Charlie was the best I've ever seen at that. And he really had that focus. And I hope that's something that as the show continues and those of us who follow in Charlie's footsteps and worked alongside him, I hope we all challenge ourselves to get better at that so that we can make our points crisp and precise. So we've got the data, we've got the info so that people can take that and use it to grow his movement and his vision.
Yeah, that's a really interesting observation, especially when you think about the South Park parody of Charlie and how we were watching and we're like, wow, they actually got that one pretty right, because he had gotten some of the arguments down to such a distilled, powerful, formula that even when they were parodying the arguments on campus, Charlie had succeeded in making them ubiquitous. Yeah. They'd become cultural and almost memeable, right? And that was Charlie's power of taking pretty lofty ideas. We think of politics as being lofty, and he would make it so digestible for the common man. And you come from, the world of DC and the think tank world, and everyone wants to prove how brilliant they are, and so they make these white papers. And Charlie was like, "We're not a think tank; we're a battle tank." Mm-hmm. And you saw that up close because
did he ever? Did he say that? That sounds like something he would say.
Yeah, no, like he said, Turning Point is not a think tank; we're a battle tank.
Yeah.
He, at least early on, he used to say that a lot. I don't know if he
it works. It very much is true.
It is true.
There was a certain humbleness to the fact that he would feel like people weren't going to give him a half an hour, and he could entertain you for half an hour and teach you stuff for half an hour. You could do the 3-hour podcast. No, but he said, I might only have you for 70 seconds. I might only have you for 20 seconds. And there was something that I thought was really, even though he was a big star, that was something that I thought was very populist of him, that I'm not expecting you to give me your whole afternoon to hear all the things I've ever done. Let me make one great point to you. And I love that approach because that's something that everyone's got time to hear one great point. You could just throw it right at him. And that was one thing I've been thinking about a lot, where he really was the best at. And I hope that people take that to heart in their personal lives.
Mm. Yeah, no, that's really well said. And yeah, we do attempt to continue on his legacy. And, I'll never forget when, everything happened and Erica looked at me and looked at some of the people on the team and said, the show, you have to keep the show going. And I was like, yes, ma'am. And I was like, can I ask, what's in your heart when you say that? She said, they will not silence my husband's voice. Mm. And this show was such an important piece of what he did. And so we're honored to be here. I'm grateful to have Blake and the team, when he's not traveling in Naples, taking vows that he'll regret later. No, I'm kidding. You didn't take any vows. It makes me laugh in my inner monologue to think of you doing that. We have from Mikey and Danny and Daisy and
is Mikey here? I gotta say hi to him.
Yeah, Mikey I think he'll be around later.
That's important to me.
Yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, this is a sacred duty that we have, both on the Turning Point side and here on the show, to sort of be that drumbeat, invite the thought leaders like yourself, be the tip of the spear, and get that messaging out there time and again. And I am really excited about today's show. Actually, we're coming up. We're about a minute out from a break, but I will tease it. While we still have this time, and that is the real victims of 9/11, Alex. We all know that it's Zoran Mamdani's aunt. Of course, that she suffered this excruciating Islamophobia in the wake of the Twin Towers coming down. The victims were not the 2,977 New Yorkers and folks in the first responders and the people in the Twin Towers that died. No, those were not the real victims. It was Islamophobia that caused the real victims after 9/11. And the reason I'm excited to talk about this is because this was and we've said it before in the show, that one of the final big focusing through lines of the last couple of months of Charlie's life was he was raising the alarm bell about the influx and the Islamification of the Western world. He had traveled to the UK. Blake was on that trip, so was Mikey. They traveled to the UK. They'd seen what it looks like when a major major world city becomes so inundated. And it was terrifying, I think, for Charlie. It really left an impression, and he would not stop talking about what he saw, and he was warning about it. So we have a commercial break. 5 seconds more with Alex Marlow and Blake Neff. We'll be right back at the Charlie Kirk Show.